Deputy Carl Nolan.
Yeah, Gurma, I got Ceann Comhairle. This amendment speaks on informed consent, and before we enter into discussion on this particular amendment, I just want to draw the members' attention to subsection 12 of the amendment. That should refer to section 12 and section 12.1 of the bill instead of section 11 and section 11.1, as this subsection refers to determination in the case of an emergency section in the bill. So just to draw members' attention to that. This amendment makes provision for information which a woman seeking abortion is entitled to be given. It is designed to ensure that she will have full information as to the material facts, and that if she is not given that information, she may initiate appropriate proceedings for breach of the obligation owed to her in that regard. This amendment is solely about information. It does not apply to emergency situations, and it places no obligation on women. This amendment ensures that women are given information on very relevant matters, including risks of the relevant abortion method, risks of carrying the child to term, alternatives to abortion, and supports available to assist her. It is obvious that in the absence of this information, any consent obtained is not an informed consent. Consent to a medical or surgical procedure is not truly consent at all unless it is informed consent. Without this amendment, women who would elect not to have an abortion if they had complete information will instead go through with it. That must be unacceptable, surely, to anyone who would label themselves as pro-choice. Yet, curiously, some TDs of that view have continuously and quite groundlessly criticised this particular amendment. Prior to the referendum, Taoiseach Simon Coveney assured people that the cooling-off period of 72 hours would involve counselling and offers of alternatives to abortion. This amendment ensures that the law reflects what the Taoiseach said during the referendum. The Minister has constantly said that he wants clarity for doctors in the law. Despite this, he rejects amendments from pro-life TDs as not being necessary in primary legislation, saying that these matters can be dealt with by guidelines, etc. This is a contradictory stance. Either we give doctors clarity in the bill, as the Minister keeps insisting, or we do not. At common law, the more elective the procedure, the greater the duty on the doctor to warn the patient of potential negative outcomes. It is clear that most abortions under this bill will be elective procedures, and that the law requires that elective procedures require a high degree of disclosure. However, the parameters of that obligation are not clear in all situations. Arguments sometimes arise in litigation as to whether or not a given risk was material. Accordingly, for clarity, it is important to include in the bill a provision specifying what should be disclosed. Women need to be respected through the provision of full information, instead of having information withheld based on some paternalistic assumption. It is highly paternalistic to deny a patient relevant information merely because it could give rise to upset or affect their decision. Such an approach would be entirely an unacceptable approach. Gaurav Margaret.